Imagine the Great Wall of China, year 1241 AD. The Mongol Empire has just conquered half the known world. Their horses drink from the Danube to the Yellow River. Their arrows have blacked out the sun over 100 battlefields. They are unstoppable, invincible, the scourge of God himself. But on this day, something impossible appears on the horizon. A column of armored figures marching through the Gobi Desert, their white cloaks marked with black crosses blazing in the merciless sun. These aren't Mongol warriors. These aren't Chinese soldiers. These are 100 Teutonic Knights, the most elite warrior monks from medieval Germany, mysteriously transported to face the greatest military force in human history. 3 massive war elephants appear, not carrying soldiers, but supplies. They drop their cargo and vanish into the shimmering heat. The mission flashes before the knights like a divine vision. Penetrate the Mongol Empire. Reach the Forbidden City. Capture the Khan's representative in China. Do this in 120 days, or die trying. Comment right now before I continue. Do you think 100 heavily armored Christian knights could survive even one day against the Mongol war machine that conquered more territory than Rome? Because what I'm about to reveal will leave you speechless. Will faith, steel, and Germanic discipline be enough? Or will the Mongol horde erase these knights from history, like they've erased 100 other armies? Keep watching, because the answer will shock you. The knights stand in perfect formation, their plate armor reflecting the desert sun like mirrors. They know this mission is suicide. They know they're facing an enemy that has never lost. They know history says they should be dead within hours. But they also know something the Mongols don't expect. European warfare has evolved in ways that Asia has never seen. The arsenal of God's warriors. Let me show you exactly what these 100 Teutonic Knights bring to this impossible battle. These aren't ordinary soldiers. They're warrior monks who've taken vows of poverty, chastity, and endless warfare against non-Christians. Each has trained since childhood for one purpose: to be God's weapon in human form. Their armor is revolutionary, full plate armor, something the Mongols have never encountered. Steel sheets covering every inch of their bodies, articulated at the joints for mobility. A Mongol arrow that can pierce Chinese laminar armor bounces off this steel like rain off stone. Total weight, 60 pounds of protection that makes each knight nearly invulnerable to conventional weapons. Primary weapon, the longsword, 4 feet of cruciform steel that can cut through Mongol leather armor like paper. But here's the secret weapon, the crossbow. 20 knights carry heavy crossbows with steel prods that can punch it through armor at 300 yards. These weapons are banned in Europe for being too deadly against Christians. Against Mongols, anything goes. The lances, 12-foot steel-tipped spears designed for mounted charges. When a 1,000-pound warhorse moving 30 miles per hour drives one of these lances into an enemy, the impact is like being hit by a car. The Mongols have seen cavalry charges, but they've never seen the devastating power of European heavy cavalry. The war horses, not the small steppe ponies of the Mongols, but massive destriers bred for warfare. Each weighs over 1,500 pounds, trained to kick, bite, and crush enemies. Armored with steel barding, these horses are living tanks that can smash through formations. But they also have something unexpected: 50 pounds of gunpowder acquired from Chinese merchants, primitive hand cannons that can fire metal balls through walls, Greek fire stolen from Byzantine merchants, poison acquired from Persian assassins, and, most terrifying, the tactics and rage of the Crusades. 150 years of religious warfare that taught Europeans how to fight outnumbered and win. Tell me in the comments, does this arsenal sound like enough? Because the enemy they face makes every other army look like children playing war. The Mongol machine, death made systematic. The Mongol Empire in 1241 isn't just an army. It's the most sophisticated military machine ever created. They've conquered 12 million square miles. They've destroyed kingdoms that lasted 1,000 years. They've killed approximately 40 million people. That's 1 out of every 10 humans alive. Their numbers in China: 500,000 Mongol warriors permanently stationed, 2 million Chinese auxiliary troops, unlimited horses. Each Mongol warrior has 5 horses minimum, communication faster than any other civilization through a relay system of riders. And something terrifying: a military doctrine perfected over 40 years of continuous warfare. Mongol weapons: composite bows that can fire 300 yards accurately from horseback, arrows with different tips, armor-piercing, fire, whistling for psychological warfare, scimitars forged from the finest steel in the world, and captured Chinese siege weapons, catapults, trebuchets, exploding powder bombs. But their real weapon is tactics. Mongols don't fight fair. They feign retreats to lure enemies into ambushes. They use scouts to track enemies from 50 miles away. They surround armies with superior mobility and shoot them to pieces from distance. They never attack fortified positions directly. They starve them out or bypass them entirely. The Mongol strategy has destroyed every army that faced them: Polish knights, Hungarian cavalry, Russian princes, Chinese dynasties, Persian warriors. Nothing has survived contact with Mongol warfare. They adapt, they overwhelm, they never show mercy. And now 100 German knights in the heaviest armor ever made are walking directly into their territory. The question isn't if the knights will face Mongols. The question is how many minutes they'll survive the first encounter. Drop a comment. Are you starting to think this is actually impossible? Because that's exactly what the Mongols think too. Day 1. The Desert Ambush. The Teutonic Knights begin their march toward Beijing, following ancient trade routes. Their Grandmaster, Heinrich von Hohenlohe, a scarred veteran of 30 years of crusading, addresses his warriors. Brothers, we walk into the mouth of the dragon. History says we cannot win. Faith says otherwise. Remember, we don't fight for glory or gold. We fight because God has placed us here for a purpose only He understands. Form up, march discipline, and when battle comes, show these heathens what Christian knights can do. They march in tight formation, shields interlocked, crossbowmen in the center. The desert sun is merciless, heating their armor until it burns skin. But they don't break formation. Discipline above comfort. Always. 6 hours into the march, a Mongol patrol spots them. 50 horsemen on the horizon, watching these strange armored figures. The Mongol commander, Batu, sends a rider back to the main camp. Strange warrior, heavy armor, slow movement, easy target. Within 2 hours, 500 Mongol cavalry arrive. They form a wide circle around the knights, staying at maximum bow range, 250 yards. The Mongol tactic is simple. Ride around the enemy in circles, shooting arrows until they collapse from exhaustion and blood loss. It's worked against every enemy they've faced. The arrow storm begins. 500 composite bows release simultaneously. The sky darkens with arrows. The knights raise their shields and form testudo, a Roman formation where shields create an armored shell. Arrows rain down like hail and bounce off harmless. The Mongol arrows that can pierce Chinese armor, Persian chainmail, and Russian leather simply cannot penetrate German plate armor. The knights stand like iron statues while arrows clatter against steel. Batu watches in shock. He's never seen armor that arrows cannot pierce. He signals for closer range. The Mongols close to 100 yards. The arrows now have more force. Some find gaps. One knight falls with an arrow through his visor slit, but 99 remain standing, unbreakable. Now Heinrich makes his move. Crossbows, fire! 20 heavy crossbows discharge. 20 steel bolts fly at 400 feet per second. At this range, they punch through Mongol leather armor, through the small shields, through flesh and bone. 20 Mongols fall dead instantly. The Mongols have never faced weapons with this penetrating power. Before they can react, Heinrich roars, "Cavalry charge! For Christ and Saint Mary!" 50 mounted knights thunder forward in wedge formation. The ground shakes. These aren't quick-step ponies. These are war horses that weigh 3 times as much, carrying armored knights that weigh another 200 pounds. When they hit the Mongol circle, it's not a battle. It's a massacre. Lances punch through 2 men at once. Swords cleave through leather armor and bone. The war horses themselves become weapons, crushing Mongols under steel-shod hooves. In 5 minutes of brutal contact, 150 Mongols are dead. The survivors flee in absolute terror. The knights regroup. They've lost 1 man. The Mongols lost 170. But Heinrich knows this changes everything. Brothers, we've shown them their arrows don't work. Now they'll adapt. The real war begins tomorrow. Fortify this position. Tonight, they'll come with something worse. Comment below. Did you think the first encounter would go this way? Because the Mongols are about to get very creative. Day 2. The fire that eats steel. The Mongols don't sleep that night. Batu sends riders in every direction, gathering intelligence, requesting specialized weapons. By dawn, he has 2,000 warriors assembled, including specialists the knights have never imagined. The siege engineers arrive with catapults. The fire troops carry ceramic pots filled with naphtha and sulfur, medieval napalm. The heavy cavalry brings captured Chinese thunder crash bombs, primitive explosives that spray shrapnel. This isn't a patrol anymore. This is a siege force designed to crack fortifications. And the knights are in open desert. Heinrich sees the army assembling at dawn. He knows they cannot survive a prolonged siege in the open. We can't defend. We attack. Mount up. We break through their center and run. Speed is our only chance now. But the Mongols are ready. As the knights form their cavalry charge, the catapults fire. Not stones, pots of burning naphtha. The pots shatter in front of the knights, creating walls of flame. The war horses panic. Several knights are thrown. Fire sticks to armor, burning the men inside like lobsters in shells. Then the thunder crash bombs detonate. Explosions rock the desert. Shrapnel cuts through exposed areas. 3 more knights fall. The charge breaks apart in chaos. The Mongols swarm. 2,000 horsemen attack from all directions simultaneously. This time, they don't shoot from distance. They charge in with scimitars, targeting the gaps in armor, the joints, the visors. 5 Mongols attack each knight simultaneously. This is where Teutonic training shows its worth. Each knight is a master swordsman, trained to fight outnumbered. Their longswords have reach advantage over scimitars. Every swing drops a Mongol, but for everyone they kill, 2 more appear. Heinrich fights like a demon possessed. His sword is red to the hilt. 30 Mongols lie dead around him, but his horse is killed. He fights on foot, back to back with 10 other dismounted knights. They form a circle of steel, cutting down waves of enemy. Then Heinrich sees their only chance. Gunpowder. Light it all. The knights carrying the gunpowder kegs smash them open and throw lit torches. The explosion is catastrophic. A 50-foot fireball erupts, incinerating 200 Mongols instantly. The shockwave knocks down hundreds more. In the chaos and smoke, the surviving knights run. By nightfall, they've escaped. But the cost is devastating. 23 knights dead, 15 wounded, most of their horses dead, half their supplies destroyed. They're 77 warriors, mostly on foot, 800 miles deep in enemy territory, facing an empire that now knows they're coming. Heinrich addresses the survivors. Brothers, today we learned that courage alone isn't enough. The Mongols are everything they're said to be, but we're still alive. That means God isn't done with us yet. We continue. Tell me in the comment, would you continue this mission or try to escape? because what happens next will test them beyond anything you can imagine. Day 7. The Monastery Alliance. For 5 days, the knights avoid Mongol patrols, moving only at night through mountains and forests. They're starving, exhausted, and hunted. Every day, Mongol scouts spot them, and they have to fight running battles just to survive. On day 7, they stumble upon something unexpected, a hidden Buddhist monastery in mountain caves. The monks have survived Mongol occupation by offering no resistance, paying tribute, and treating wounded Mongol soldiers. The abbot, an elderly Chinese monk who speaks broken Latin, learned from Franciscan missionaries, offers shelter. You cannot defeat Mongols with strength. They are the storm. You must be water. Flow around them. Find the cracks. Strike where they don't expect. Heinrich, desperate, asks, "How do we reach Beijing? How do we strike at their leadership?" The abbot reveals something crucial. The Khan's governor, Kublai, has a summer palace 300 miles from here, lightly guarded because no army has ever penetrated this deep. But there are tunnels, ancient mining shafts that run beneath the palace. Local resistance fighters use them to smuggle supplies. If you can reach those tunnels, this is it. The mission objective crystallizes. Don't fight the Mongol army. Infiltrate through the tunnels. Capture Kublai. Use him as leverage to extract safe passage home. It's their only chance. The monks provide detailed maps of the tunnel system, civilian clothing to disguise the knights, food and medicine for the wounded, and most valuable, local guides who hate Mongol rule and want to help. But there's a price. We help you because you fight the Mongols. But you must swear, no killing innocent Chinese. You fight Mongol warriors only. If you become like them, killing everyone, we withdraw our help. Heinrich swears the oath. For the first time, the mission shifts from impossible to merely suicidal. The knights rest for 3 days, healing wounds, planning the infiltration. This is no longer a cavalry charge. This is a special operations mission, medieval style. Comment below. Do you think changing tactics from direct combat to infiltration is smart strategy or cowardly? Your answer reveals how you think about warfare. Day 20. The tunnel infiltration. The knights leave their armor. They can't move silently in 60 pounds of steel. They keep swords and crossbows, but dress in Chinese peasant clothing. They look ridiculous. Massive German warriors in silk robes. But in darkness, it might work. The tunnel entrance is a dry well 3 miles from Kublai's palace. The local guide, a former miner named Wei, leads them down. The tunnels are ancient, narrow, barely high enough for the tall Germans to walk hunched over. They move in single file through absolute darkness, trusting Wei completely. After 6 hours of crawling through claustrophobic passages, they emerge in a cellar beneath the palace kitchen. Above them, they can hear Mongol guards walking, talking, laughing. They're inside. Heinrich's plan is surgical. We split into 3 teams. Team 1 secures the exit route. We need those tunnels open for escape. Team 2 takes out the guard barracks, quietly with crossbows and knives. Team 3, with me, captures Kublai in his quarters. No one raises an alarm until we have him. Go. Team 2 moves first. They emerge from the cellar into the guard barracks at 2 a.m. The Mongol guards are sleeping. 20 crossbows fire simultaneously. 20 guards die without making a sound. The remaining guards wake to find German knights with swords already among them. The slaughter is quick and brutal. 40 guards dead in under a minute. Team 1 secures the tunnel exit, killing the 6 guards stationed there. They pile furniture to create a defensive position. When the alarm goes up, this is where they'll make their stand. Team 3 reaches Kublai's quarters. The Khan's governor is awake, reviewing maps by candlelight. He looks up to see a scarred German giant with a sword aimed at his throat. "Move, and you die," Heinrich says in broken Mongolian learned from captured prisoners. "Cooperate, and you live. You're coming with us. Kublai is no fool. He's been a warrior longer than Heinrich has been alive. He knows when resistance is suicide. You won't escape this palace. I have 500 guards. You had 500 guards. Heinrich replies, now you have about 430, and they're about to have a very bad night. They drag Kublai toward the tunnels, but palace servants see them. The alarm bells begin ringing. The entire palace erupts like a kicked hornet's nest. The knights run for the tunnel entrance with Kublai as a human shield. Mongol arrows fly, but they can't risk hitting their governor. The knights fight a running battle through palace corridors, their swords cutting down guards, their crossbows dropping pursuers. They reach the tunnel entrance where Team 1 has created a defensive position. 30 knights hold the tunnel mouth while the rest escape with Kublai. The Mongols mass for an assault, but the tunnel is narrow. Only 3 men can attack at once. It's like Thermopylae in miniature. For 2 hours, those 30 knights hold against waves of Mongols. Every attack is repelled. Bodies pile up in the tunnel entrance. But the knights are taking casualty. Arrows find gaps. Mongol spears thrust through the defensive line. One by one, the defenders fall. Finally, Heinrich sends word from deep in the tunnels. We're clear. Fall back. The surviving defenders run into the tunnel, collapsing sections behind them with explosives. They emerge from the well 3 miles away just as dawn breaks. The cost: 15 knights dead in the palace, 10 more dead in the tunnel defense. They're down to 52 warriors, but they have Kublai Khan's governor bound and gagged, the highest value prisoner imaginable. Tell me in the comment, was this victory or just survival? Because the next 80 days will determine if this mission becomes legend or tragedy. Day 40. The hostage negotiation. The knights hide in the mountains with their prisoner. Mongol search parties scour the countryside, but the Buddhist monks provide intelligence about patrol routes, allowing the knights to stay one step ahead. Heinrich interrogates Kublai through Wei's translation. Here's your situation. We have you. The Mongol Empire doesn't negotiate with hostage takers, which means they'll hunt us forever, unless you give us what we need. Kublai, despite being prisoner, maintains dignity. What do you want? You cannot hold me forever. You cannot reach your homeland. Even if you kill me, 10,000 Mongols will hunt you to the ends of the earth. We want safe passage to the coast, ships to take us home, and supplies for the journey. In exchange, we return you unharmed. Kublai laughs. The Mongol Empire does not make deals with kidnappers. I am one governor. My life is worth less than Mongol honor. They will sacrifice me to kill you. Heinrich realizes Kublai is right. They need different leverage. Then help us for your own reason. You're a governor who failed to protect himself. That's shameful in Mongol culture. You'll be replaced, maybe executed for incompetence, unless you turn this into a victory somehow. What are you suggesting? We escape together. You claim you infiltrated our group, learned our secrets, and now you're leading Mongol forces to destroy us. You turn your capture into a counterintelligence operation. You look like a hero instead of a victim. Help us escape, and we give you the story you need to keep your power. Kublai considers this. It's cunning. It might work. And if I refuse, then we kill you and fight our way out anyway. Your death serves us nothing, but we'll do it rather than surrender. For 3 days, Kublai weighs his options. Meanwhile, the Mongol dragnet tightens. Every day, patrols get closer. The knights fight 3 skirmishes, losing 2 more men. They're down to 50 warriors, low on supplies, exhausted. Finally, Kublai agrees. I will arrange your escape, but it must look like you defeated Mongol forces, so my story of infiltrating your group is believable. We stage a battle where you overwhelm my rescue party. Some of my men die to make it realistic. Then I guide you to the coast through routes my forces will accidentally leave unguarded. It's a devil's bargain, but it's their only chance. Comment below. Would you trust your enemy to honor this deal? Because the next decision determines everything. Day 60. The Staged Battle. Kublai arranges for a rescue party of 200 Mongol soldiers to discover the knight's location. But he's secretly ordered these troops to fight realistically, but not to the death. They'll retreat after taking acceptable losses. The battle unfolds in a mountain pass. The Mongol force attacks. The knights fight back with desperate fury. Both sides are acting, but the violence is real. Some Mongols die genuinely before their comrades retreat, defeated. Kublai escapes in the chaos, returning to his forces with the tales of infiltrating the Christian knights, learning their plans, and orchestrating their destruction. He orders selective Mongol patrols to avoid certain routes, the exact routes he's told the knights to take. For 30 days, the knights march toward the coast, fighting occasional skirmishes against Mongol patrols that don't have Kublai's secret orders. They lose 6 more men. They're down to 44 warriors, half-starved, wounded, barely functioning as a fighting force. But the plan is working. They're getting closer to the coast. Kublai's misdirection is keeping the main Mongol army chasing phantoms in the wrong provinces. Day 90. They reach the port city of Quanzhou. Chinese merchants, paid off with the last of the knight's valuables, provide 3 trading junks. The ships are prepared for immediate departure. But then the betrayal happens. Or does it? A Mongol army of 1,000 warriors appears on the horizon. The knights prepare for their final stand. Heinrich draws his sword. Brothers, if we die here, we die knowing we achieved the impossible. We captured a Mongol governor. We survived 90 days in their heartland. We are legend. The Mongol army approaches. But instead of attacking, they stop 200 yards away. Kublai rides forward alone. He shouts to Heinrich, "Christian knight, you fought well. Your God must be strong to protect you this far. Board your ships and leave. Tell your people what the Mongol Empire can do. Tell them we let you live because you proved worthy opponents." It's theater. Kublai is maintaining his story while honoring his secret deal. The knights board the ships rapidly. As they sail away, the Mongol army shoots arrows that deliberately fall short, a show of force that allows Kublai to claim he drove them off. The knights sail for 3 months, facing storms, starvation, and one pirate attack they barely survive. Day 120, they see the coast of Europe. 44 warriors return from an impossible mission that should have killed them all. Comment: do you think this was victory or just survival through luck and compromise? Keep watching for the truth. 3 possible endings. What really happened? Now, let me show you the 3 ways history remembers this mission, depending on how you interpret the evidence. Ending 1. The heroic triumph. 30% probability. The 44 surviving knights return to Europe as legendary heroes. They've proven that Christian warriors can penetrate the Mongol Empire, capture high-value targets, and escape alive. Their testimony about Mongol tactics helps Europe prepare for future invasion. Kublai uses the incident to gain prestige, claiming he defeated and expelled the Christian invaders. Both sides win politically. The knights are celebrated, songs are written, more missions are planned. This becomes the template for special operations deep behind enemy lines. Ending 2. The shameful deal. 50% probability. The knights return home but are quietly disgraced. Church authorities learn that they made a deal with a heathen governor, sacrificed their honor for survival, and achieved nothing permanent. Yes, they captured Kublai, but they released him. Yes, they penetrated China, but they couldn't hold a territory or make lasting impact. They're seen as survivors, not victors. Their mission is classified as a failure with heavy casualties. The survivors live out their days knowing they compromised knightly honor to stay alive. Kublai continues governing, and the Mongol Empire remains unstoppable. Ending 3. The lost mission. 20% probability. The knights never make it home. Their ships sink in a storm, or Chinese pirates kill them, or they die of disease on the voyage. No one ever learns what they achieved. Kublai buries the incident to avoid embarrassment. Europe never knows that 100 knights penetrated China. The mission becomes a mystery. Historians, centuries later, find fragments of records mentioning German knights disappearing in Asia, but no details survive. It becomes legend without proof. Tell me which ending you think is most realistic based on everything you've learned. The 6 fatal decisions that determined fate. Throughout this 120-day mission, 6 critical choices shaped whether knights achieved glory or extinction. Decision 1. Direct combat versus infiltration. Initially, knights relied on armored charges and direct combat. They won the first battle but took unsustainable casualties. Switching to infiltration tactics saved them. The lesson? Adapt or die. Even elite warriors must change tactics when facing superior numbers. Decision 2. Kill Kublai versus capture him. When they captured the governor, they could have executed him for maximum terror impact. Instead, they kept him alive as leverage. This decision enabled the eventual deal that saved them. Sometimes the live enemy is more valuable than the dead one. Decision 3. Trust the monks versus fight alone. Accepting help from Buddhist monks meant relying on non-Christians and revealing their plans to potential traitors. But without that help, they'd have been hunted down within days. The lesson: survival sometimes requires alliances with unlikely partners. Decision 4. Honor the oath versus kill civilians. When monks demanded they avoid civilian casualties, knights could have refused and continued total war tactics. Honoring the oath kept their supply lines open and intelligence flowing. Restraint proved strategically valuable, not just morally correct. Decision 5. Trust Kublai's deal versus fight to the death. The devil's bargain with Kublai offended knightly honor. They were warrior monks who swore to never compromise with heathen. But pragmatism saved 44 lives. The question remains: is survival through compromise worth more than death with pure honor? Decision 6. Claim victory versus admit compromise. When returning to Europe, knights had to choose: tell the truth about their deal with Kublai, or claim they escaped through pure martial skill. The truth might disgrace them. The lie might inspire false confidence in future missions. What would you choose? Comment which decision you think was most critical to their survival. The real lesson: when gods of war meet. This hypothetical battle reveals something profound about military history. The Mongols conquered through mobility, adaptability, and overwhelming numbers. The Teutonic Knights embodied heavy armor, disciplined formation, and religious fanaticism. Neither system could fully defeat the other. The Mongols couldn't break the armor. The Knights couldn't match the mobility. So the conflict became about adaptation. Who could learn from the enemy faster and implement hybrid tactics? The Knights survived by abandoning pure knightly warfare and adopting infiltration, intelligence networks, and political manipulation. They became more like Mongol raiders and less like European cavalry. That adaptation saved them, but also changed them fundamentally. The Mongols, if this had really happened, would have learned that European armor rendered their primary weapon, the composite bow, ineffective at range. They would have developed new tactics, more fire weapons, more explosives, more melee combat. The encounter would have changed Mongol warfare. Every impossible mission requires impossible adaptation. The question is, will you adapt fast enough, or die defending obsolete methods? The final truth: what this mission really proves. So could 100 Teutonic Knights really penetrate the Mongol Empire, capture a governor, and escape alive? Militarily, the math says no. 100 against 500,000 is extinction, not war. But historically, small elite forces have accomplished impossible missions throughout history by doing exactly what these knights did: avoid direct confrontation with the main enemy force use technology and training advantages in small engagements, form alliances with local populations who hate the occupiers, adapt tactics continuously based on enemy response, and know when to fight and when to run. The Mongols were unbeatable in open warfare, but they weren't omniscient. They couldn't guard every tunnel, patrol every mountain, predict every unconventional tactic. Their size became a weakness, too much territory to defend perfectly. The knights' heavy armor was devastating in small engagements, but useless for prolonged campaigns. Their religious discipline gave them courage, but also made them inflexible initially. Their European tactics worked once, then became predictable. In reality, this mission probably ends in total annihilation. But the 1% chance of success exists through perfect execution of every decision, maximum luck, and enemy mistakes. History has 1% success stories. They're called miracles or legends. Would you take a 1% chance at immortal glory over 100% chance of comfortable mediocrity? The knights did. That's why we remember warriors and forget bureaucrats. Comment, "I am Teutonic," if you'd take the impossible mission. Then, tell me what impossible goal you're avoiding right now out of fear of failure. If this story made you rethink what's possible for small groups against impossible odds, share it with 3 people who need inspiration to fight their own giant enemies. Subscribe for more historical battles that teach modern lessons about strategy, courage, and survival against overwhelming odds. Next video, 300 Spartans vs 10,000 Persian immortals, the real story they never taught you. Until the next impossible battle, remember, the knights who attempt the impossible and fail are remembered longer than the knights who never tried at all. Legacy is written by those who dare, not those who calculate safety. The saga ends. Your impossible mission begins. What will you dare?